zoning hearing board is back in session. Thank you for your patience. First, under business things that are old business, that is the appeal of Dennis Sluciak at 78 Whitney Road with Crown Castle cell tower. At the close of the last meeting, the board had asked for findings of fact from both sides, and the board wants to thank both sides for their submittal of the their side of findings of facts. Let it be known that board members and their solicitor has reviewed those, and at this point I'll ask for a motion.
I'd like to make a three-part motion in regards to application number 2020-008. Motion in regards to the appellate had made a timely appeal, and motion that the continuing use has not expired, and that we adopt the findings of fact, the conclusion of law, and the adjudication.
The motion being made, I ask for a second. I will second. The motion made and second. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. That will take the board to item number 2 under old business, and that is Jeffrey Omatick. He is requesting a variance for continuation of a non-conforming use. We left off last time Mr. Omatick was seeking counsel for his side of this argument. Someone representing Mr. Omatick. Sir, would you state your name for the record and address for the record, please?
Sure. It's Steve Tazak, and my address is 23 East Bow Street in Washington.
Could you use the podium too, sir, since there's a mic there? And where we were at when we left off last month, Ms. Moore was ready to start questioning Mr. Omatick, correct?
Well, I would only start his questioning if his direct testimony is done, which I'm not sure if it is or not, but now that he has counsel, his counsel may want to take him through his direct first, and then I can cross-examine him.
Well, I'm not sure his direct testimony is done.
That's what I'm saying. It's probably appropriate for him to complete his direct testimony before I cross-examine him.
Okay, that'll work.
Okay.
Just so the board understands the application, for the continuation of a non-conforming use, a variance is not needed. So the first request would be that he be allowed to continue his, actually he has a right at law to continue his non-conforming use. He could get a certification from the board to continue his non-conforming use, but even if he doesn't have that, he could still continue it. The second request in the alternative would be a variance as to the use of his property. And with that, I could have Mr.
I don't believe a variance was advertised for. I mean, he applied for a change for a continuation of non-conforming use, correct, Chris? I don't believe we advertised for a variance in this case, did we?
I think he's seeking a variance for the continuation of a non-conforming use.
Yeah, you don't get a variance to continue a non-conforming use.
I think you do if you're moving property. I think that's the distinction. I think that's why he filed for a variance. If you want to just, for example, turn your non-conforming Pizza Hut into a little larger non-conforming Pizza Hut, you can probably just argue that you're entitled to non-conforming use. But if you're seeking to move a property, which I believe Mr. Omatick is doing here, I think that's why I filed for a variance for a non-conforming use.
Well, again,
But again, that's
we'll make the record, and
absolutely.
that'll be the record.
Consider that then a variance for non-conforming use?
I think
Is
that's
that what we're considering here?
that is what we're considering.
Okay.
So, again, I want you to understand, he doesn't need a variance to continue a non-conforming use.
And what are we talking about?
He applied for a variance, so
He's claiming he doesn't need one. Why are we here hearing this?
Maybe that's true. Why are you in front of us then?
I mean, you know, if his counsel claims he doesn't need a variance, what's he asking for there? Do you know what he's asking for?
He was instructed, Mr. Omatick was instructed by the code enforcement officer to, I believe, for the zoning officer to apply for the variance.
Can I speak on behalf of the township? Just quickly. Well, first of all, I'll ask our zoning officer questions about what she did or did not say to Mr. Omatick. But as to the legal issues and why we're here tonight, I agree. I think there are two things here I don't think is quite clear in this application. You don't need a variance to continue a non-conforming use. I think he is in the alternative, seeking a variance. I mean, that's his issue. As I told the board last year, the variance is not appropriate when applied to a subdivision. It's in your ordinance, section 404A1. A variance does not apply. It specifically says the variance procedure is intended to provide a narrowly circumscribed means by which relief may be granted from unforeseen particular applications of sections of this chapter not relating to subdivision requirements. And then he goes on to say, when such hardships may be more appropriately remedied, if at all, pursuant to other provisions of this chapter, the variance procedure is inappropriate. So for two reasons, and this is more legal argument, a variance is inappropriate under these circumstances because one, he's trying to do a variance from a subdivision, and two, it can be more appropriately remedied because he has a R1 parcel that can be subdivided, which is the only avenue he's ever instructed to go down. But that's the township's position on the legal.
Thank you.
Mr. Omatick's not seeking a subdivision at this point. I don't know what that is in reference to.
You will not seek a subdivision?
Not at this point, not until he gets a determination from the board on the continuation of his non-conforming use. Does he testify from here, or where do you go have him testify from?
Okay.
Should we just have him start testifying and then we'll just see where this actually is?
Yeah.
Good evening.
State your name for the record.
Jeffrey Omatick. I live at 349 Grange Road, Macomb, PA, 15057.
Mr. Omatick, how many acres do you have there?
42.
And how many parcels is that?
Excuse me, I don't believe anybody was sworn in. Do we need to do that?
Candy, you want to swear him in?
Please raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this caution the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Jack, can we do something else for another microphone?
Wait, I believe, didn't we swear him in last time?
Yeah,
And
but
all
this
the
is
parties, anybody here different that wasn't here last time that's going to testify?
But this
Because
is-
you're still under oath.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really, because it's a new case.
Okay.
Do you need me to redo that testimony?
No, we're good.
Okay. Jeff, how is your property zoned there on Grange Road?
Leave all one.
Okay, and do you have trailers at your property? How many?
At this present time, 5.
When were the trailers put on your property?
I believe 484.
Okay, and do you know when that property was rezoned?
No, I believe it was always R1.
Okay. Now, when did you become the owner of the property, Jeff?
2000,
Okay, and who owned the property before you?
mother and father,
And do you know how long they owned the property?
40-some years.
Okay, so since the 60s?
Yeah, probably.
And who put the trailers there on your property? Okay, and you said that was in the 80s?
That's my knowledge. continue.
Can you speak up, please? Or hold on something?
I need to repeat it? Good?
And has the property been used with a trailer court on it since the 80s, continuously,
Yes.
throughout your parents' ownership
Yes.
and throughout your ownership?
Yes.
Now, recently, did you have to relocate one of the trailers?
Yes, I did.
And can you tell the board why that was?
I had water off the bank, moved my daughter into it, I had a landslide.
Mm.
I had to either take a loss, because it's worth what I covered, so I decided to move it on the hill, state ground, which I lost 3 trailers up there in the process of the landslide.
And it's still, is it still on your same part, the same parcel of property?
Yes.
Okay. And did it move across the zoning line though?
No, I didn't know there was a zoning line.
Okay. And were the soils unstable there where it used to be located?
Yes.
Did that create a hardship for you with locating the trailer?
Yes.
And where you relocated it to now, does that have stable soils?
Yes, it does.
And are you here today to ask the board to be able to continue your non-conforming use of that 42-acre parcel with the trailers on it?
Yes, I am.
That's all the questions I have for Mr. O'Malley.
Ms. Ford, do you want to cross him off? You want-
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. O'Malley some questions now. I have actually updated exhibit 5 yours.
Thank you.